You are now tuning in to the Princess with the Real show, where I keep it real all day, every day. Today, I have to light up. Everything ain't what it appears is what I will say. But today, I want to discuss surviving R. Kelly. You know, I know a lot of people got opinions. A lot of people have things that they want to talk about in regards to this subject. But on today's show of Princess with the Real, I want to dedicate this show to surviving R. Kelly. And discussing that, I think this whole show is going to be about that show, just because it was a 6-hour show. So in 6 hours, I should be able to, you know, discuss it. And it's going to take me about 45 minutes to an hour to get my opinions out and to state everything that I want to state about this subject, because that was very deep. Like, let me start by saying it was a lot going on. It was a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of pieces that need to be discussed. You know, I think a lot of people look at one topic of a documentary, or when they're doing a doc series or whatever, they look at one topic as to what's going on instead of looking at the whole picture. And what I'm going to do on today's show is I'm going to break down the entire picture. I'm going to break down play by play, not really play by play, but I'm going to break down, you know, what I feel based on watching everything. Let me start by saying I am a fan of R. Kelly's music. Always have been a fan of R. Kelly's music. I think he writes and creates masterpieces. So I will not take anything away from his music. As a person, let me say up front, as a person, I do not respect him as a person. But as an artist, I like his music. One thing I will discuss throughout this episode is how do we separate him, the artist, from the man? Do we do that, or do we say we cut him off because we don't fuck with him as a man, that we don't fuck with him as an artist? And I need somebody to tell me that, because if that's the case, then there's a lot of people I need to cut off, because there's a lot of people I don't fuck with as people, but I fuck with their music. So that's something that we will discuss. One thing that I do want to touch on, which I will touch on in depth throughout the episode, is how most of the people said that R. Kelly was sweet and funny and kind and all of this, but Robert was a devil. So throughout the episodes, you can see that most people were separating the artist from the man. So I will discuss that, touch on that. I'm going to touch on some of the parents and their opinions, their statements, as well as, you know, their actions. As well as I'm going to touch on the girls and their actions, and, you know, how I felt about the things that they've been through. I'm going to touch on the staff that was employed by R. Kelly, that was working with him throughout the years. I'm going to touch on everything. I'm going to touch on everything throughout the documentary, the doc series. You know, I will go on record saying that after watching it, I can't say that I will stop listening to R. Kelly's music. That's just being real. I'm going to be honest. After watching it, I can't say that I'm going to stop listening to his music, because, again, he made timeless music. And it's music that a lot of people relate to. They sing in the churches. I mean, it's everywhere. So I can't say that I'm going to stop listening to his music. But I will say that he's a scumbag. Like, he's a low-down, dirty dog. Like, basically, point blank. And I will discuss why I say that about him. But there's a lot of people that is low down throughout that doc series that we need to touch on and we need to discuss, because it's not just R. Kelly. R. Kelly is the mastermind, but there's a lot of things that need to be discussed and touched on. So let's get into it. Okay. So let's start off with, you know, I understand as young women that sometimes you're afraid to speak up and tell people what's going on, if you've been touched on, if you've been dealing with stuff. I say that because I was one of those young women. I still have not spoke up about something that happened to me in the past with a family member. And, you know, it happened. I spoke up about it to someone that was close to that person. And that person told me I was in the wrong. And that they didn't want to believe me because I shouldn't even have been there. If I could tell the whole story, I'm not going to tell it at this point. Like, I'm healed from that. I'm trying to work and move forward in my life. But the thing is a lot of times people don't speak up because of that reason. When you speak up, and this is why I had to smoke during this session because it's deep. Because when you speak up, people don't believe you. And then you have to think about your parents. For me, in that situation, I never spoke up about it because I thought about my parents. And I thought about them going to jail. I thought about them being underneath the jail for murder. And I didn't want that. I didn't want to destroy my whole family because of something I've been through. And instead, I decided to, you know, deal with it on my own and grow from it. Now, through dealing with it and growing from it, I'm more protective over my kids. I'm more observant to what's going on with my kids because my parents didn't see that. Do I fault them for not seeing it? Sometimes I do. But at the same time, it was me covering it up that they couldn't see it. But in certain situations, if it's something that goes on and on, this happened to me once. It never happened again in that situation. So there was nothing for my parents to continue to evaluate and try to figure out because it was only a one-time thing. So I said that to, you know, just explain my part before I start going into the R. Kelly story, because this is why I am the person that I am today, because of some of the things that I went through sexually. Like, I'm not saying that that person like had sex with me, but that person violated me. As a child, I was violated. And it wasn't appreciative, and I didn't ask for it, didn't want it, didn't set off the signs that I wanted it, and didn't give off that vibe that I thought anything like that was cool. Sorry, I had to stop for a minute there, had someone come in. But yeah, so it's not something that I asked for, nor did I want, but it happened to me. And there was another situation that happened to me where I was at a friend's house, and their sibling tried to take advantage of me and try to take it. Luckily, someone was walked in the room and prevented that from happening, as well as all of the fighting and pushing that I was doing to try to get out of the room. So I've had situations like that. I've dealt with stuff like that. And whether it was like a full-on sexual attack or whatever, it all affects the same way because there's someone trying to violate you. So it's a difference. And the reason why I say that is know the difference between being violated and accepting and being willing to do something. There's a difference between being violated and being willing. And people can mind fuck you. Like, people get mind fucked all the time. Like, in all kinds of situations. It's not just sexually. Like, people mind fuck people on a daily when it comes to business, anything. So you got to know how to see those signs and not allow anybody to do you like that. And I say I am this way because of my experiences and things that I've seen. I've seen a lot. I was one of those girls as a little kid trying to protect another kid from being touched on. I was that person. Like, so when I say, and I don't even want to go into details about it, because here's the thing is, a lot of times, and people don't go into details as well because it affects other people. So me telling my story of what I've seen and the things that I've been through affects other people. It affects other lives. So I'm real. I keep it real all the time. But sometimes I will not tell the whole story. I'll tell you a piece of it without trying to give a person's name. If I feel like I end up having to give a person's name, I'll cut it off and won't finish the story. So in regards to some of the stuff that I've been through in life, that's why I don't tell the deep story, because I know some other people are trying to heal from these things and trying to get past these things. And I don't want to bring this back up for them when they're not ready, because I'm ready. I want to give them time to heal and get past things, because some of the things that I've experienced and dealt with in life didn't directly happen to me. It was me, you know, being there for other people, or me, you know, being close to people who were going through things. So that's why I don't speak on it all. But when I say I've seen and I've experienced and I've dealt with a lot, I have. I really have. And I put myself in a situation that I probably, like the time when I got touched on, I was there to protect someone else. But in return, something happened to me. So what I learned through that was you can't always be there to protect somebody else and put yourself in harm's way. I mean, I try to be there for other people, but I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. I prevent myself from being in harm's way as much as I can possibly can. And I do the same thing for my kids. That's why I don't trust my kids over everybody's house. I don't trust my kids spending the night with people. And then it's not just that I'm an overprotective mother because that's just, you know, who I am. No, I'm this person because I spent the night at somebody's house and something happened to me. So I don't want that to happen to my kids. And I never spoke up about that to my parents. So I don't want my kids to go through something like that and feel like they can't speak up about it to me. And this is why I talk to my kids about everything. This is why I believe in being my kids' friend. This is why, yes, I am a parent, but I'm a friend too. And the reason why is because if you aren't close with your kids are going to be afraid to tell you when bad things happen. My kids to this day, they tell me good and bad. I know everything. Like, they may not tell me as soon as it happens, but best believe within a day or two, a couple of days, I will know what's going on. That's how our relationship is. That's how our bond is. And we bond like that because of the things that I've been through and the things that I've seen other people go through in life as kids. I don't want my kids to have to experience sexual abuse. And that's men and girls and boys. Because I've seen it. I've heard about the boys who've been molested by their family members and stuff like that. Like I said, I've seen that shit. Like, I've seen so much with kids dealing with this kind of stuff and not even being able to speak up about it because they've been hushed by other people. Like, there's other people involved. It's not just the person who's doing it to the person. It's other people involved. Like, and people don't speak on that. They only speak on, oh, well, he did this to her. But how did all of this happen? How did all this stuff take place? How was this possible for all this stuff to take place? Is anybody speaking on that? How? So with all of that being said, let me get into my thoughts on surviving R. Kelly. I normally don't even have no notepad. I normally don't even take no notes during this kind of stuff. But I felt like it was important for me to, you know, take some notes while I was watching the show. So that way when I'm speaking my opinions, I'm saying my opinions based on some things that I've heard on the show. Now, at the end of every episode, they did state that R. Kelly is still denying all of these claims and everything like that. So let me say that up front, that everything that I'm saying that happened on the show, R. Kelly did not say happened. You know, this is other people's opinions and their stories based on what they dealt with and, you know, how they feel about different things. So now it's my turn to tell my story and my opinion on how I feel about everything that they said. Because they put it out there. They wanted everybody to see it. They wanted everybody to feel some type of way. And now it's time for me to say how I feel. So let's start out with, I really feel sorry for all these girls. All of these young women, I really feel sorry for. That they had to go through this. That they had to experience this in life. Nobody should have to go through stuff like this. Nobody should have to have these types of experiences in life. Like, I really and truly feel for them that they had to go through this. And the ones who are, you know, supposedly still going through this, I hope they make it out. You know, I hope this doc-series coming out didn't change the dynamics of things. Because, you know, behind every thing that they showed on the doc-series, there was a plot, there was a plan, there was something in motion. So now that this doc-series has came out and everything is out in the light, and there are still some people missing, what is the next plan? What is the next thing that's going to be in motion? That's what I think of as well. But let me start from the beginning. You know, yes, these were young girls that he targeted, and everybody believes that young girls are naive and stupid and don't, you know, they lack a little common sense that you get as you get older. That's what everybody believes about young women. But let me say this, that as a young woman, I was a young woman before, and we're not naive as people think we are. Like, we know what's going on, and it depends, but it also depends on your upbringing. And a lot of parents shelter their kids from seeing certain things because they don't want their kids to see those experiences and, you know, feel sad about certain things. So they shelter their kids from those things. So when you're doing that, your kids don't have that opportunity to see what is going on in the real world before they get out there. This is why I don't hide anything from my kids when it comes to the real world, I want my kids to be prepared. So no, right now I have not let my kids see this docuseries, but I will once they get in school and they start hearing people talk about it. I will discuss it with them. I will make sure that they understand it, because I want my kids to be prepared and know that when things are wrong, they're wrong. And make sure you let me know if anybody is doing things like this to you. I talk to my daughter about this all the time because she does have male teachers. And I know there was a time when I was in school and we had male teachers that were caught touching on girls and stuff like that. So I talk to my kids about stuff like this. But I do that because of the experience and the things that I've seen and I've dealt with. And I realized that I've seen parents shelter their kids from this information, and I've seen those kids go through those very circumstances because they didn't know better. So I don't want to be that parent. I want to be able to make sure my kids know better. So when I watch these young girls, it is like, yeah, they was thinking about the come up, which they say most girls do think about the come up. So they was thinking about the come up, but they didn't have someone telling them that money ain't everything. And it's not something that we preach to our kids, because we tell our kids that they need to go out here and get a job, they need to make money, they need to be able to take care of themselves. Not me. I tell my kids that, but I also let them know that money is not everything. If I wanted to chase money, I'd be out here somewhere doing God knows what. So many people have asked me to be be my sugar daddy type shit. I don't do shit like that, because it's not about the money. You can't throw money in my face and get me. And it's because of the things that I've seen growing up, and it's because of who I am as a person and how much I love me. I'm not going to degrade myself to a dollar value. That's like saying you feel like this is all you're worth. I'm worth so much. So I'm not gonna degrade myself like that. So, but a lot of women, they feel like, especially as young, you getting money. I've always worked too. That's another thing. I always had a job. But they're getting this money and they're living a different lifestyle and they're loving it. And they think it's good because they're being able to live this lifestyle. Now, here's another thing that I've learned throughout my time of growing up, is that when a man is doing everything for you and you don't have to do nothing to bring nothing to the table to get all the luxury things that you're getting, eventually you're going to have to do something in return. And not only that, is you're going to have to listen and do everything he say do. And that's why I work hard. That's why I go hard every day, because I don't want to be that person. I've seen that person. I've lived with that person. So I don't want to be that person where a man is taking care of me and he feel like he can treat me any type of way. So, and that's another thing that I've seen within watching this, is like he felt like he was their daddy. He made them call him daddy. He did this shit because he felt like he was their daddy and he could do whatever he wanted to do. Like, it was disgusting. It was disgusting how he was treating them. But as women and as parents, we have to do better with our kids. This is the message that I took from this, is that we have to do better as parents to make sure our kids understand that all that glitz and all that glam, that's not where it's at. Like, that's not everything. Don't lose yourself trying to chase fame. Like, a lot of people lose themselves, and this is what happened. These girls lost themselves. They lost themselves to the point that it was manipulated in the mind to believe that this was okay. And they didn't have anybody around them telling them otherwise. So imagine going through this and everybody's telling you this is okay. And you feel like you going crazy, like something's wrong with you. Like you did something wrong. Now you want to be a good girl. Now you want to do exactly what he say. You want to kiss him when he come in the room. You want to run to him. You want to do all of this because you want to not get in trouble. Because you feel like now this is the way it's supposed to be. You've never seen anything different. Nobody's ever told you anything different. So this is why I say we as parents have to make sure our kids know at an early age. I know we say, you know, you got to wait till your kids get to a certain age before you start talking to them about sex and stuff like that. No, it's a new day. Things have changed. Things are going quicker now. Kids are going faster now. They have access to the internet. They can see more now. You have to talk to your kids, because here's the thing is they can learn things off the internet. But who's to say they're learning it the way that they need to learn it? Who's to say that the message that they're getting out of it is the true message that they need to get out of it? They need you as a parent to speak to them and to help them to understand this. You raised them. You helped them to be the person that they are. So you need to be the person to tell them this, not the teachers. The teachers shouldn't be the only one teaching your kids about sex ed and what to look out for and stuff like that. You have to talk to your kids. You can't be afraid to discuss this stuff with your kids at an early age. I feel like this is where a lot of this stuff happens, because at 15, you don't think you need to sit down and talk to your kids about things like that. Yeah, at 15, you don't think about, oh, I need to talk to my kids about people touching on them and stuff like that. You don't want to think that at an early age you have to talk to your kids about that. You feel like, oh, some parents feel like if your kids come and ask you about it, then you'll discuss it. But other than that, like, you want to shelter your kids away from that stuff. For me, I started teaching my kids about this stuff at an early age. And the reason why I feel like this is important is because of the things that I went through at an early age, the things that I've seen other people go through at an early age. I think it's very important that you teach your kids at an early age of what could possibly happen. I tell my kids, this is why I don't let you spend the night at people's house. I don't know these people. I don't know what kind of people they are. I don't know what they do behind their closed doors. Like, I don't know. So I tell my kids this, and I tell them, like, people shouldn't touch you in certain areas. People shouldn't comment on certain things. Like, I tell my kids all of this stuff because I've dealt with that. I've had a family member always comment on my chest and, oh, how did they get so big? Who's been sucking on them? Like, I've had that happen. A family member. Like, so when I tell you I don't want my kids to go through this, and I don't want my kids to feel like they can't come talk to me about stuff like this, I explain this to them because I want them to be prepared. Because those experiences help mold and shape you into the person you're going to be in life, and it messes with people. So a lot of these girls, it's like they got into that. They didn't have anybody there to tell them otherwise. So it's like they have to live this life and they're scared. Because now it's like I got this person that's older than me telling me this, telling me I got to do this, or making me feel a certain type of way, and I can't do anything about it. And if I involve people, it's going to cause more problems. But what kids got to understand is that their parents don't care. Parents don't care about all of that. You tell them. They don't care about the problems it's going to cause them that you call them. And you wanted help. They don't care about the repercussions of that shit. They're going to be there to try to protect you the best way they can if they know what's going on. But you can't keep... Here's my thing is, the one thing in the story that really was upsetting me with the girls was, the fact of the matter was, when they got a chance to speak up, they didn't speak up. But then after the fact, they told this story about how they wanted to speak up. It's like you had a chance. Your parents reached out. You should have signaled. There should have been a sign. There should have been something. Like, and that's for the younger girls. Like, the younger girls, that's what I feel. That's what I feel like. You know, there was not a lot they could do being so young. And they wanted the money. They wanted the fame of, it's R. Kelly. And that's what a lot of the girls said. It was like, it's R. Kelly. Why wouldn't I? So we have to teach our kids that these celebrities, these big names, these people who we call like the it people, are people just like us. So don't feel like you have to devalue yourself and feel like you have to bow down to them because you feel like they're superior to you. Because that's another thing that these girls went through. That's another thing that these girls dealt with. Is feeling like this person is just of so much value to the world. Like, just being able to be in his presence and him to tell me that I'm going to be somebody makes me want to do whatever this man say. If you keep giving me a little piece of that cookie every now and then eventually I'm just going to keep believing it. If you do something wrong, you do it. Like, that's what happens. That's what happens when you've never seen anything different. You've never heard that what this kind of stuff does to you. Like, I really feel sorry for the young women who were a part of this, like, for real, because I understand how hard it was, because you didn't want to speak up, you didn't want to hurt your family, you didn't want to go through none of that. But I felt like some of you who did eventually speak up now in this new doc series and didn't speak up back then and continue to fight then, I feel like, why? Like, here's the thing, as a parent, if some shit like that happened to my kid, as a parent, I'm never giving up. Never. I don't care if you beat me in court. I don't care. I'm fighting to the end. You have parents. We're fighting. We're trying to get their kids back. We're like going hard. And then you had those parents who was like, my daughter was missing, but she was of age. Forget that. If you knew your child was in danger as a parent, and you knew your child was in a bad situation as a parent, I feel like you should have continued to fight for that. You should have continued to fight to be heard. Your voice should have been out here on a regular. People should have been hearing you every month, every year, every day. Justice for your child. You want your child. You want to see your baby. Because regardless of the age, they're still your baby. You had them. That's the thing that, like, it bothers me. And it's like, the girls, like, I'm going to be real, I don't really fault the girls for what happened. I fault R. Kelly for the things that he did to them. I really do fault him. But I also fault his team. And I also fault the parents for allowing it to go on for so long. These 2 years and 3 years. Like, I feel like more could have been done. And if you can't do it by yourself, then get other people involved. Don't be afraid of telling people the story of what's going on. You have to continue to speak on it to create change. Like, you have to think about it. This story, like, started in the 90s. In the 2000s, stuff really started happening, really. So, nobody paid attention. It's 2019. Nobody paid attention. Yeah, I was growing up during that time. I've heard the stories. I've even laughed about R. Kelly pissing on girls. Like, it's always been, like, because he always won. Did I ever believe that he was telling the truth? Never. Never did I believe that. But the world just continued to accept him, and his music continued to be good. So it was just like, okay, I still listen to his music. I would say, like, I would say he was the king of R&B because he puts out hits. But as a person, is he somebody that I would say I want to meet? No, I've never said R. Kelly was somebody I wanted to meet. So, and when I say that, it's like, okay, so we hearing all of this stuff that's going on. We know everything that's happening with R. Kelly. Why would you want to go meet him? Why would you still want to work with him? Why would you still want to be on his team if you see all of this stuff that he's doing and you don't agree with it? And this is why I fought the team. The team has a lot to do with it. Like, a lot of people don't understand how important the team's role is in manipulating these girls into getting everything that R. Kelly wanted done. So the team should not take no blame in this. The team should not get no consequences in regards to this stuff. You were covering up things. Sir, you forged documents to have a marriage done. Ma'am, you were bringing girls to him for years. And now you sit here crying and feeling some type of way now? You helped some of these girls be in this situation, knowing that it was a bad situation to be in. So, I say, look at everybody in the situation. R. Kelly is fucked up for the shit he did. He is a fucked up individual. And knowing all of this information, you should know to keep your daughters away from him. Just like back then when all the information was coming out, everybody was still going to his shows. Everybody was still doing everything. Like nothing skipped a beat. And as you see it play out, and in everything that he's dealt with, nothing skipped a beat. I didn't even realize he went to court so many times. Because like I said, I listened to his music, but I wasn't really a fan of, like I wouldn't say I was a fan. Like if it came on the radio, or if he had a hot CD and I can get a hold of it for the low, then I got it. But I wasn't one of those people like, oh gosh, R. Kelly's out, I gotta go get this. Like no, I wasn't like that with really no artist like that, other than probably Trina. But what I'm saying is when you know all of this stuff about a person, you see all of this stuff in the media. Back then we didn't have social media like that, but it was on the news. It was talked about on the radio. And nothing changed. So because nothing changed, people gave up. People stopped talking about it. They said wait until we get another big story and we'll talk about it again. Why stop talking about it? If this is real and this really hurts you and this is how you feel, until you get justice, until you get an answer, until you get what you feel like you need and you want, why would you give up talking about it? Why would you stop speaking on it? Why would you stop caring? Until another story comes out. Now it's like, okay, this is our time again. No, you've had time. You've had all of this time. Maybe this is a moment that can help you as well. But when you stop talking, this is what happens. People continue to deal with him. They continue to work with him. They continue to be like, okay, well, he got past that. You know, he's out of that. Then nobody's talking about it no more. So everything's good. You got to keep speaking up for what you believe in. Don't just be like, oh, well, they didn't want to hear it, so let me just go on to the next thing. They ain't want to hear it. No. You got to speak up for what you believe in. If that's what you want, then you got to continue to fight for it. You got to get other people to get on your team and band with you, to fight with you. Because you can't do it alone. I understand that. You can't do it alone. But as parents, as women, as men in society, we have to do more to protect our children. We have to prepare our children more for these types of things. And we have to fight when things like this happen and not give up. When you feel like you've been defeated. There's no such thing as defeat. It's giving up. Don't give up on what you feel is right. Don't allow someone to shut you up. Like, don't do it. R. Kelly didn't allow nobody to shut him up. He continued to work. He continued to thrive through all of this. He continued to make hits. He continued to get money. While everybody was being quiet and not speaking up and not putting themselves on that platform to really speak up. We have all these movements out here. Maybe we didn't have it back then, but we have all these movements now. And it's like, it took this long for people to start speaking up again. This is 20 some odd years. If you think about all of these people that went through this stuff, all of these people that dealt with this man, all of these people that had bad things, and bad experiences with this man, if they band together, if they united and stuck up as a team, you think we wouldn't have had change? I really believe we would have had change. And I feel like everybody says, you know, well, if it was white women, he was doing it, white girls, he was doing this too, things would have been different. You know why? Because white girls' parents don't want their kids with a black man anyways. So they're going to fight. They're going to fight to the death of them to get their white daughter away from that black man. They're going to fight. They're not going to give up. They're going to throw all of their money in. They're going to band together, because they do band together when things happen in their community. And they're going to make sure that someone goes to jail for it. Now, us as black people, we don't band together. We don't team up. We're against each other most of the time. Nobody knows what side to be on sometimes. So we don't band together. And we look at like, oh, we want our kids to be with somebody who got money and who's doing good. We want our kids to be around these people. Regardless of what I heard, you know, they beat that. So, you know, it's okay. She says she's good. You want that to be okay because you want them to be able to grow. So you don't look into that kind of stuff. White people only look into it because their daughter is with a black man. That's why the things would have been different. That's what I want people to understand in that regard. Because that's what people continue to say is like, oh, if those was white girls, things would have been different. Yes, because those white parents would have fought to make sure something was done because they wouldn't have wanted their white daughter around that black man. That's what it is. So on to some more stuff that happened throughout the stuff. His ex-wife, Andrea, I think that's her name, Drae Kelly. She's still Kelly. Has she not changed her last name yet? And I've seen on social media since that came out that she was doing videos in her car singing his music, saying my baby daddy and smiling and doing all of this. How can you get on this docuseries and really, in my opinion, fuck it up for everybody else's stories? Like, I was really feeling everybody. And then when she came on, it was just like, her? Like, I would have rather heard from other people more than hear from her. And the reason why I say this is because one moment he hurt her. One moment he did this and he did this and my kids and this and this and this. And the next moment, you're singing his music. You had a whole platform where you could have spoke on this. You had a whole show, Ex-Wives or whatever it was, where you could have spoke on this stuff. Where you could have helped these other women to heal. You could have helped other people to see. Because when she was on that platform, I'm going to be honest, when she was on that platform, all I could think of, first of all, was I didn't know R. Kelly was married. Because again, I was not a fan like that. To really get into his life, I liked his music. So I never knew he was married. So when she came on the show and said she was married to him, and around the time she was married to him, and I thought about, the only thing that I really had heard about him during that time frame was that he had peed on a little girl. A little 14-year-old girl. So I heard about that. You know, I seen it in the Boondocks. I seen all of that. And I'm thinking, this is the girl who was married to him during this. Like, so you ain't never speak up or say anything then when that stuff was going on. Now, yeah, you hear her story and she didn't know what was going on and he manipulated her to believe this. Okay. But here's the thing is now you're on this platform, a show, because you're an ex-wife of R. Kelly. You're making money for being an ex-wife of R. Kelly. And you don't say anything. You don't speak up. Because you didn't want to affect your coins. I feel like you have to speak up all the time. You can't just, when it's good for you, be good about it. And when it's bad for you, then you want to be bad about it. You got to stick to that. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. You got to stick to that. You can't change how you feel. Like, you can't be wishy-washy and then expect people to believe you. And I think that's why with her story, like, everybody else, I'm not going to lie, I believed everything that they were saying. Everything. And I hated that they went through that. With her, it's like, I want to believe her. But at the same time, she has shown two different sides. Pick a side and stay there. Either you fuck with him or you don't. Either he hurt you or he didn't. Like, this is what messes with me when it comes to her. It's like, I would never talk good on somebody who did something bad to me. I may not say nothing, but I will never speak good on them. I will never speak highly of them. Like, I will never say anything like positive about them. I might say some shady shit you might think was positive, but that shit was not positive. I'm not that type of person. Like, if you've hurt me, and you've hurt me to the core, like she say he's hurt her to the core, like he's done all of this. And in her situation, she had kids by this man. So he did all this to you, and he was doing this to you. And even if he didn't do anything to the kids or anything like that, he did it to you in front of your kids, around your kids, and you had to go back and deal with your kids like this. He did this to the kids too. So speak up. Help other women to not have to go through this. You had the platforms to do so. You was in the positions to speak up. But nothing happened. Like, there was no voice. You had more of a voice than these other women to really speak up. Once you started getting on these platforms. And not even just that platform. Because you are, like, she was a dance artist. Like, she did all of this. Like, so she was in contact with people. Like, speak up. We have all these women movements of women that need people to speak up. We can't wait till now. We can't wait. We can't keep letting stuff go on and keep allowing stuff, especially when you see it's continuing to happen to several people and you don't say anything. I believe with Drae Kelly that I wanted her to speak up more. Like, when I discovered and realized that she was with him during that time when she first got on reality TV, I wanted her to speak up. I wanted her to tell me, why was you still with him when he was doing all of this? Because to me, I feel like she had to have known it was going through people's minds. And maybe if things, that was years ago when that show came out. So I'm thinking, you know, maybe if she would have spoken up then, we could have helped some people from having to go through stuff in the last couple of years. You know, I feel like if people continue to speak up about the things that happen to them with certain people who are getting away with it, and they continue to fight for justice, it will help others from not having to go through those same situations. Now, I'm not just saying I count on those people to make it right for the whole society, because I also count on the parents to make sure they talk to their kids and make sure their kids understand it's okay to talk to me. It's okay to let me know when something's going on, even if you feel like it's going to hurt the family. It's okay to come to me and tell me. I would rather you tell me than keep it from me. Like, I think that's something that all parents need to let their kids know and instill in them and make sure they understand, like, this is real. I'm not just saying this just to say this because I want you to tell me something so you can get in trouble. I'm saying this because I want to be there to protect you. Have anything happen to you or anybody try to do something to you in any situation. Now, in regards to the workers, they worked for him for years. They've seen this stuff. They're speaking up now. They're talking about it now. They may have talked about it during the court stuff, but you continue to work for this man. Like, his team helped him to deceive these women. His team helped him to beat these cases. His team helped him to continue to be a star with all of this going on. His team helped to cover things up. His team helped him to hide these women. His team was there to help not feed these women. His team was the ones that was not letting these women go to the bathrooms as well. Because you got to think about it. This man was traveling. This man was going on shows. This man was touring. This man was doing all of this. So when he was doing this and they was held captive in these houses or these studios or these places, who was watching them, holding them captive? If he wasn't there, who was watching them? The team. So, the mastermind is R. Kelly. He's the mastermind. He put a plan in motion and everybody follows and everybody barks. But the team is at fault too. Y'all getting paid to do this shit. This is your job. Your job is to deceive women under your boss's command. Now, That's a fucked up job. Do people like having jobs like that? Like, would you go out here and they had a job offering for anybody who wants us to help deceive women? Would you go take that job? So if you find out that you have a job like that, why wouldn't you leave that job? Did he hold y'all captives too? Was the team members under some type of thing as well? I want to understand why the teams didn't speak up. Why the team didn't help these women. Why the team didn't help these women escape when this man was gone. So now everybody speaks up about, oh, well, I saw this and when he told me this, I felt like this. Why didn't you do something? Why didn't you get one of them girls out? Why didn't you save one? Because you didn't want to hurt you? That puts you at fault just as much as him. I feel like the team is at fault just as much as him. So here's the thing is, if you want to get to R. Kelly, start with getting to the team. Everybody knows you never start with the big fish. The police do this every day in the drug world. They always get the small ones that leads them up to the kingpin. So start with the team and it'll lead you up to the kingpin. Like, I don't think people think about stuff like this. People don't pay attention to stuff like this. Like, the team is a very, very valuable pieces in this puzzle. Without them, a lot of this stuff will not be taking place. Let's be real. This man puts the plans in place. He executes that plan through his team. And he checks in to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like, I want people to understand this. It's like, I'm not defending R. Kelly by far. I'm not defending his actions because I feel like he does need to face some consequences for his actions. But the reason why he's not facing consequences is because we as black people do not stand up for each other. We as black people care about a dollar sign more than we care about people. Let's be real. That's the truth. That's the truth. People get paid off every day. You file a lawsuit, you go to court, you get paid off. Now it's non-disclosure. Now you can't speak about it. Forget the dollar sign. Forget what somebody gonna pay you and fight for your justice. You had so many people that had opportunities to take this man down. You took this man to court. But you settled out for meals. You were saying you were only worth meals. And you're okay if this person does this to other people because now you can't even speak up and voice about this shit no more. So when I say when people had these platforms and they had this opportunity to speak up and they didn't, that's a problem. That's when you became the problem as women who went through this. You was not a problem when he had you there and he was doing all of this. Like you was a person who was going through some stuff and you didn't know how to get out. And you didn't have anyone there helping you to get out. And I feel for you in that situation. But when you got in that platform and you was able to stand up and speak up for yours, and you took that settlement deal and you settled out in court instead of going to trial with it, I feel like that's a problem. I feel like you took hush money. This is money to shut you up. For you not to speak about what you've been through, what you've dealt with. For you not to inform other women to protect themselves against this. Why? Why would people do that? And this is another reason why us as black people, we don't get change in situations like this. And like people say, if it was white girls, it would be a difference. Because it's about money in our community so much. Like, people care so much about money. They forget about morals and values. They forget about what's important. You put a dollar sign on something, people will change their whole being. People will turn into something else and forget who they are. And I know so much because I was a person who forgot who I was before, trying to be something for somebody else. So I know what it feels like to forget who you are and to be stuck in a trance and going through the motions, which is what a lot of these girls went through. They went through the emotions of every day of like, let me just get through the day. Let me just do what I need to do to have a better day today than I had yesterday. That's what they were doing. That's why they were doing everything that they was told to do. Because they was going through the motions of, let me just survive on a day-to-day. Because they felt like there was no way to get out because they had no one telling them. They had everyone around them telling them that, hey, you better stay in your place, you better stay what you doing, and you better not move. You better do what this man say. So when I say everybody is at fault in the situation, everybody who was telling them that they need to listen, everybody that was telling them to stay in place, they're all at fault as well. Like, this show, it was very deep. And it like, for me, it did teach me a lot about R. Kelly that I did not know. Because, again, I didn't really follow him as a person. I like his music, but I didn't follow him as a person. So I did learn a lot about R. Kelly as a person, and I can't stand him as a person. I can't. And I can't say that I will, like, I'm not going to say I'm not a fan of his music anymore because I'm still a fan of his music. But will I be a person who be like, oh, play that R. Kelly all the time? No, I've never been that person, really. But I am a fan of R. Kelly songs. He made hit songs. But this man is a mastermind. He's a mastermind. And he's laughing at everybody. He's sitting right now at home laughing at this doc-series coming out. He's laughing with his team. Right there with his team laughing. Like, they couldn't shut me down in the 90s, so they can't shut me down now. Like, he's laughing. So what is everybody going to do? There's still girls out there missing. There's still girls out there that haven't talked to their families. So are we just going to watch the doc-series and not do anything? Are we going to do that and just not create any type of change? Are these parents of these missing girls going to just stand by and be like, I'm going to wait till my child call me? I'm going to wait till I get a new update? Or is people going to hit the pavement on a daily? People hit the pavement about Trump? People out here on the roads messing up traffic about Trump? Why weren't we out here on the roads messing up traffic about these girls? Because when you watch the story play out, all of this happened in Atlanta. So, as this is playing out and these parents is going through this, why wasn't there any alerts about this of, let's start a protest about this. Let's do something about this. Why? It don't make sense. It don't make sense to me. I'm trying to understand why does everything have to go to the media? Why does everything have to go to, you want to do a show? Why can't we see a daily, constant fight for something that you believe in? Why do you have to wait till you can get on a show? Why can't you get on your social media and post and try to go viral? Why can't you post a YouTube video and talk about this stuff? Why do you have to wait until somebody's going to pay you to go discuss this and to talk about this? Why can't you do it on a platform where you can do that for free, but you can still reach people? I don't get it. I watch this and I'm like, from the 90s to 2019, this man's still on top? Like, this shit's crazy. All of this stuff's been going on. And I'm honest when I say I didn't know about everything that was going on. I heard recently about the cult, which is really why I wanted to watch this doc-series, because I wanted to see them discuss that, because I really didn't go into looking into facts about it, because there's so many stories that come out that I don't know what's real and what's not. It's so many people who scream things have happened to them, and it's lies that it's hard to believe what happened to a person that really went through that stuff. So, and I think that's another thing that stops people from believing. Because there's so many people out here that lie about it that it's hard to believe the people that's telling the truth. You know, I discussed how I feel about, you know, the parents, and I feel like they could have done a better job. And there's a lot of those parents who you can see through the doc series have really fought and continuing to fight to talk to their children. But here's my thing is, when I hear it's been 3 years since I got some kind of notion of where she's at or anything like this, so I'm fighting now. So through those 3 years, what were you doing? It is not to down anybody. It's for people to understand that this is important. It's important to fight every day, to be heard every day, to speak up every day. Not just call that number that you know. Call every number you can possibly call. Get the word out. Make sure people know. Put signs out. Put posters out. Like I said, get on videos. Talk to people. Go to big events. Talk to people. Protest. Get your voice heard. That's my thing is, I feel like that with the parents, I feel like I want them to continue to fight. Even if your child is back home, even if she's grown now, continue to fight. Stop other women from having to go through this. Not just with him, but with other men. Not just with other men, but with the employees and the people that's helping this stuff go in motion. Because these people don't do this alone. They have teams. When you have money, you have a team working behind you. When you're on the road doing shows and you got all of these girls, you got 6 different girls that you got to keep up with. You're on the road doing shows, and now you got girls in all these different rooms, which means it's probably more than 6 girls. So it's all these different types of girls. And he kept up with them while he was on the show? No, other people kept up with him. Other people stopped them from leaving. And I feel like it's sad that those people aren't right there. Like, put him at the highest. He is the mastermind. But those people who worked on the team, who helped the mastermind plan go in motion, they deserve some type of penalty too. They deserve some type of consequences as well. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying every moving part deserves something. Every moving part deserves some type of actions against them if you was playing a part to help this plan go in motion. These people should not be like, oh, well, I'm talking about it now. No. You had a part in this sexual abuse. You had a part in this child molestation. You had a part in this, child pornography. All of that shit. You had a part in this. All of those people need to be taking actions against them as well. That's how you take down a mastermind. You take down the people who's helping them do the mastermind. Like, you help everybody else by taking them down. Letting them stay there because one person said a statement, but they're continuing to work for him. They're continuing to help the plan in motion. Take them down. The less people that's helping us to put the plan in motion, the less of a plan there is going to be. That's how I feel about it. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I would never, I want my kids to understand. I want my kids to know, no. Grown men that's way older than you, leave that alone. No, stay with people your age group. I don't care how much money a person got. Don't let nobody throw their money in your face and make you think that they gonna do something for you so that makes it special. No. Love is real. Don't love the money. Love the heart. Love the person. And the thing is time and time on that doc series, you hear the women saying like Robert and R. Kelly. You know, R. Kelly was this sweet person and Robert was this devil. But the thing is Robert is R. Kelly and R. Kelly is Robert. That's what people want us to believe and feel and shut down R. Kelly's music because he is Robert. So if you're going to say that, then don't separate him on the doc series. Don't separate it that way. Because when you separate it and say R. Kelly was this sweet person, but Robert is this person, you're telling people like they're two different people. And it's not. R. Kelly is Robert and Robert is R. Kelly. They're the same people. Like, I just don't get that part of it. Like, they're the same people. They're both the fucking devil. Like, he used his stage name to get the girls. But he's still Robert. R. Kelly is Robert. He used other girls to get the girls. He used his team to get the girls. He was a mastermind. And he had a lot of puppets in position to help the mastermind plan go off. But if you go after those puppets, you'll stop the plan. I repeat, go after those puppets. Not really touched me. The other thing that reached out to me in this series and made me feel like I needed to touch on was the fact we had a 30-year-old girl. Now, when it started, the 14, 12-year-old, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay. These are the girls that we look at and we say, you know, they're a little naive. They didn't know any better. You know, they're still children. You know, they didn't even form yet. They're still going, like, growing. They didn't know any better. Like, okay, we feel sorry for you. Like, sorry that you went through all of this. And we wish this didn't happen to anybody else. But then when you say, after all of this happened, we heard about all of these women, I mean, all of these girls, all of these kids, all of this stuff that's happened. The video went viral about him pissing in the little girl's mouth or pissing on her or whatever. So all of that went viral. They discussing all of this. Why would you, as a 30-year-old woman, want to get involved with this man? Why? I don't get it. That's the part that is leaving people to question, like, why? If everybody knows who this man is, we knew who R. Kelly was. Everybody knew. I was a kid and I knew who he was. So why is it that now, at this age, you feel like, let me get involved with him? I don't get that part. Like, I don't really get it. I can't look at a 30-year-old woman and say, like, you knew he went through all of this and you really believe this man's story? You really believe he didn't do this to these women? And you really believe you was going to be different? That's my opinion. Now, do I feel sorry that this stuff happened to her? Yes, I do. But how long did you stay in this? How long did you allow this man to treat you like this? How long did you deal with this knowing what everybody knew? Everybody. This was public knowledge. To say that you, I don't want to mix them up. You know, to say that she said she fell in love with him. Like, and what was crazy is I was cursing at the TV when that happened. When she said that. Because it was like, so now because you fell in love with him and your friends and all of this stuff is going on because you're in love with him, you feel like it's okay? Like, let's disregard it. He said it's not true, so let's disregard it. But all of this factual stuff is out here. But you fall in love with a man like that at 30 years old, you knew better. I feel like I really feel like she was old enough to know what's up. And she was old enough to know, like, this man wasn't right. And honestly, me, I feel like at that age, and she realized who he was, because apparently she didn't want to see the videos or didn't want to know who he was at first. And at that age, once you realize who he was, I would have did some setup type stuff and try to set you up and try to let the world see it, because I wouldn't have wanted you to do this to anyone else. Like, forget the money, forget the fame, forget, oh, you put me in this video. No, that's hush stuff. So many people take hush stuff just to hush up, and it's not right. It's not cool. because you leave it out there for other people to go through the things that you went through because you didn't shut that person down. Now that person is out here and you're still growing and trying to deal with the stuff they put you through, but you're allowing them to put other people through this. Don't let that happen. Don't be silent about that. Especially when it's affecting so many and it's in the media all the time and it has been going on for so many years. Like, you have to continue to speak up. Start a movement. Reach out to people. People you don't know. Like, there's so many ways of reaching people and trying to connect to people and get your story out there. Don't give up because the world didn't believe the first time you said it. Continue to say it. Eventually people will learn and put it, like, so the first time people put out stuff is like, she might be lying, and like, that's how people are. But continue to speak on it and it's going to get in people's head. It's going to stick. And when it starts sticking, people going to really start thinking, and then they're going to understand, and they're going to, people be more like understanding and more we got to stand behind each other if it's continuing to be said. But if it's like something was said once and is not said again, people, it's kind of like it's out of mind, out of sight. People don't think about this shit no more. And it's crazy though. He was training these girls. He was teaching them to do everything, like making them call him before they went to the bathroom and all of this. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy that they in the beginning thought that was cute. Because in the beginning they thought it was cute and that's why they stayed. After a while they couldn't say they wanted to leave. Like, once they got to a certain point they couldn't say they wanted to leave. But in the beginning, when he was that controlling, they was like, oh, he really cares about me. He opens up to me. He cares about me. And once he got them to a point, into an age where nobody else could say anything and nobody else could stop it, that's when the control took over even more. So there was a point in time where they could have said, you know, this ain't right. I gotta go. While they was young. But it was still having a little fun. So the little small thing that he was doing was nothing because I was still having fun. That was nothing because at that time it wasn't major. He didn't go major until they got of age to where their parents couldn't do anything anymore, really. That's what I got out of it. I don't know if that's exactly what it was, but this is my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. The story was put out there, so I'm entitled to say my opinion about the story. The fact that these girls was in the same house and couldn't see each other and they was tasting each other and stuff, that's wild to me. Like, that's wild. You would never think that people would be living like that. That house had to be huge. They had to have so many bathrooms in this house. Like, it's wild to me that you could live in the same house and you can't figure out a plan to see each other, to escape or anything like that. Like, that's wild. But that means that there was a good team in place. That's why they couldn't do anything, because there was a good team in place. If you think about it, they're on different floors, different bathrooms, different all it is, or different rooms. Who's stopping them from seeing each other? Who's stopping them from, in the middle of the night, walking into another room? What's stopping them? Like, all of that, like, you have to think about all of that. Like, who all was in motion to help with this plan? Yeah, he was the mastermind. Yeah, he told people what to do, what the job was, what the position was. But who are these people doing this stuff? They also are at fault. Just like with the drug dealers. And I keep going back to the drug dealers because this is something people know that probably watch my stuff. Is like with the drug dealers, it's the same thing. Is, you know, they always start with the small people. Like, those are the little people, the little crumbs. They didn't really do all of this stuff. They working for somebody else. But you get them first before you go get the top dog. So who are these people? And these people need to be punished. These people need to be taught a lesson so that way they don't want to work for a person like that again. They don't want to put themselves in a position like that again. That's how you create change. That's how you shut things down. And it's like, and another thing that I learned watching that is what females will accept. And this is not pertaining to the young girls. And even with them, it's like certain things that they accept it because of being famous and wanting to be famous. So it's, what will they accept for fame? You have to teach your children that life is not about fame. We see so much TV, and we see so many entertainers, and I know kids want to grow up to be these people and to be around these people and, you know, to work for these people. We have to teach our children that everything is not about fame. You have to have morals and values. You have to, you know, take what your parents instilled in you. You have to understand, if you feel things aren't right, to get out. If you feel in your brain, in your mind, if you get an inch of something's not right, get out before it's too late. Because you do get in those situations where it is too late to get out. So you have to get out before it's too late. And my thing is I hope the stuff that these girls went through don't affect them for the rest of their life. I hope they don't deal with this for the rest of their life. But I know they will. Because this is not something that you can easily get over. This is not something that you can easily shut down and say, it happened, it's done. Because this is some real life stuff. When I watched it, I'm like, this is real deal. And I wanted to watch it because I wanted to see how real deal it was. Because again, I never followed the stories. I never, you know, continued to follow everything about this story. So I said, let me watch it now. Let me see what's going on. Let me see what these people went through. Let me see the things that happened that people are talking about. But I never knew all the facts or the details of the stories. Let me listen to the details. And when I heard it, I was wowed. I was wowed at so many things. I was wowed because I was like, dang, I hate that these girls went through this. Because the little bit of stuff that I went through, it hurt me and I'm still dealing with. So if you think about all of this stuff that they dealt with, that they had to deal with constantly, it's sad. Because it's like, I got to continue living after dealing with all of that. I got to continue to go on and figure out how to be happy and how to be in relationships and how. So back to what I was saying. I had to stop the show for a moment. I had to go braid my daughter's hair up, you know, back to school tomorrow. I had to make sure she's ready for that. That's more important. But back to what I was saying is about this show. Of course, R. Kelly was the mastermind. But the other thing was, a lot of parents knew the background in regards to who R. Kelly was, and they would still take their kids to his shows and watch him perform. And then they even showed in the Docuseries of one of the girls that is still supposedly, I guess, with him. Parents was with her at one of his shows, and he pulled her onto the stage and they allowed it. And it was just like, oh, it's okay, just because it was being done with other people. Like, if you're a parent and you know what he's done and you heard about the story, don't allow that kind of stuff to happen. Like, if you've heard that people are bad, same thing with Michael Jackson when they were saying that people was going to his house, like, with the kids, and the kids were spending the night and stuff, but you heard that this man was this person, but you still brought your kids around him. Like, I don't get that kind of stuff. Like, that's something else that needs to be touched on. Like, it's like, parents, we have to be more, you know, at fault for our actions as well. You know, R. Kelly was hell. He was a piece of shit. But as a parent, we have to be more mindful of the things that we do and how we play into some of these things as well. So, and I'm not really trying to down the parents. It may be coming off like I am trying to down parents, but I'm not trying to down the parents. I'm just trying to get people to understand the bigger picture, on understanding how we can make change and how we can make things different if we put a spotlight on these things. You know, they've already spotlighted R. Kelly and the piece of shit that he is. Let me spotlight everything else. So I love that the families did band together and try to do what they could do to try to get their daughters once they got in contact and realized that their daughters were in the same location. So I love that. That was that unity that I was looking for, and I was looking for that to continue within all of the families. I wanted that unity to continue, and it seemed like once one girl parents got her, it was like, now I just got to fight by myself. There was no more unity in that situation. So and they also stated that he went for the weak ones, the ones who he felt like parents was not involved. And the reason why he felt like that is because in the beginning he would be able to get these girls to come over, and it was easy to be able to tell a lie to their parents and be able to go and stay out and do different things without their parents doing fact checks. And that's why it's so important now to do fact checks. Don't just let your kids tell you that they're going to spend the night with their homegirls or anything like that without going and talking to a parent and finding out if that's really what's going on. Because you never know how kids, you know, sneak around. We was all kids too, and we know how we used to try to sneak around. So you got to pay attention, and you got to do facts. You got to go find out who the parents is, find out where they're going to be at, find out what they're going to be doing, and actually make sure that's real. Don't just let your kids go just because that, mama, I'm finna go to the mall, bye, see you later. Don't let that kind of stuff happen. I don't care. As long as they live in your household, they have to abide by your rules, and they need to tell the truth about where they're going and who they're going to be with and who they're going to be around. With your kids, and the same thing with your spouse. Like, I believe that when you leave the house, you're supposed to let everybody know where you're going and who you're going to be with. Because if something go down, I want to know where you was at. The girl that was 35 who went on there and she was talking about, you know, she would do anything to please him and all of this, and she tried to, you know, disregard the fact that he told her that he had these girls or whatever. Like, I just don't even know what to say to you. Like, I don't know what to say. So I think this is crazy because there's a lot of background, a lot of stuff has been going on. It was constantly on the radio, it was constantly in his music. He discussed the type of person that he was in most of his music and most of his songs. He discussed how he likes, you know, different types of women. He even came out with a recent song, you know, saying he's confessing to all of the stuff that he's done. So, like, if you really pay attention to the words in most of his songs and most of the music and some of the music that he did for other people, if you pay attention to some of that stuff, he really did break down who he was as a person. People just enjoyed the music so much that they felt like it related to them a little bit. Like, let's be real. And people always say age wasn't nothing but a number. I know I still say that to this day. Age ain't nothing but a number, because there is circumstances where people are younger but they're very mature for their age. So some people are willing to put themselves in position as adults sometimes at a younger age because they feel like they're mature for their age. So you have to take that kind of stuff into consideration as well, which is why people probably didn't pay attention to the simple fact of him and Aaliyah. And Aaliyah being so young, because they felt like she was mature, she was happy, she was, you know, things was happening for her in life. Nobody really like paid attention to the age difference and who he was and what he could have been doing to her. That story has not been spoken on because all of this came in later on, but no one ever discussed anything like that. So this is why we really got to pay attention, and we really got to understand what it is that we're listening to. And this is why I listen to the words in songs and try to understand the song before I just be out here bobbing my head to some stuff and I don't know what I'm saying. He does make great music, but he's a piece of shit as a person, and that's a piece of shit to women. We don't know how he treated men, but we know as to young women he was a piece of shit. And I guess to older women too, because we had a 30-year-old and a 35-year-old speaking about it as well. So it was a lot going on. And I like that one girl stated on there, she felt like they weren't really kidnapped, but more so a brainwash. And I agree. I agree that it was not a kidnap situation. They were not in a situation that they couldn't get out of, that they couldn't figure out an escape route and escape. It was just that they were so brainwashed to believe that if they left, then their life wouldn't be as great as it was. Like, that's really what it was. They were brainwashed. And so to the mute R. Kelly movement, I support you guys as far as like, y'all go ahead and do your thing. I support that. But we need to do the unmute the people who were involved movement, because everybody who was involved for all of those years, they need to be unmuted. we need to do something to them about being involved and helping us to go along for this long. You know, that's my opinion about it. And I tell you what, I would never take my daughter to an R. Kelly show, around R. Kelly, or anybody to that status and say it's okay for my daughter to be around this man and I don't know who this man is just because he was on TV. Like, no. It was just a lot. A lot went down in the show. A lot could be touched on. One thing, like I stated, everybody has to take their fault in the situation. Yes, we are talking about a man who was very conniving, a man who put a master plan in place, and it has been able to stay on top through all of this. But the reason why he's been able to stay on top is because of all of the people around him helping him to do so, helping that to be able to happen. In order to be able to shut him down, you got to shut down all the people around him. I continue to repeat that because that is very important. In any mastermind plan, if you shut down everybody that's a part of the working pieces of the game, then the game can't go on. If you don't have all your pieces, the game can't go on. Now you can rebuild, but then those pieces can get shut down as well. If you can't shut down the mastermind, then shut down the pieces. As simple as that. This is the Princess with the Real show, where I keep it real. I state my opinion, real life, real talk, real situations. I hope you understand my opinions. I hope you feel my opinions. Everybody may not agree with my opinions, but this is how I feel about the situation. And I wanted to get it out there. I wanted to say it all at one time, get it out there, express how I felt about it, and then move on from the situation. Because here's my thing is I want to get involved. I want to be a part of this. But this thing has been going on for 20 years. 20 some odd years. And you don't even have all of the people, the families, everybody really standing up, in my opinion, the way they should be standing up. So yeah, you can say like, oh, well, this is me getting involved here. That's what I can say. This is me. Me taking a stand is me saying this is my opinion about the matter. And this is my opinion. I think people should look into other things. I can't make people look into other stuff. I can't go to these higher ups. I don't have that pull. I don't have that power to do so. But I'm speaking out and hoping that people with that power and that pull can make some changes. Can put the spotlight on these other people and get these other people to be seen about, you know, talked to, and, you know, reprimanded for the things that they've done in the situation as well. Because again, you start at the bottom. You cut them from the ankles. Cut them from the ankles, and I'm telling you, shit will stop. 20 some odd years, like, when is enough enough? When is people gonna say enough is enough? Or are we gonna just keep, as people, and when I say are we, because a lot of us, we can't do anything other than protest, other than post videos and state our opinions about it. A lot of us don't have that pull and that reach to reach higher up, to have that platform to reach the millions. We don't have that. So those people who have those platforms, they need to constantly speak on it. They need to constantly shut this stuff down. They need to constantly make sure all of these people that are a part of this situation are being addressed. If you are on these platforms and you're not doing that, you're not doing your job. Because your job to be on these platforms is not only to entertain your fans, but to make sure that your fans understand everything that's going on in society. When you're on that platform, you put yourself in that position, because these people listen to you. These people, you kind of brainwash people when you're on that platform. So why don't you put the word out there and let people understand wrong is wrong? And everybody needs to understand what is going on. Everybody needs to understand how to stop it. Everybody needs to understand how to create change. We can't just look at our government and our system to create change. The people in society have to create change. It starts within your household. It starts within talking to your children and making sure your children are aware of what's wrong and what's right. And making sure your children understand that they can come to you and talk to you about anything. Make sure your children understand that fame ain't everything. Make sure your children understand that just because somebody got a good status in the world don't mean they the good person in the world. Like, you have to make sure your children understand all of this stuff. They are children. You have to mold them and get them ready for this world. You have to make sure that they're prepared to go into this world. So they don't have to experience the things that others have experienced. It don't have to be something you've experienced. But if you can go watch this whole doc-series and not learn something about it, and not want to go talk to your children to make sure your children are prepared to not to have to go through this, Then what are you watching it for? For entertainment? Because I didn't watch it just for entertainment. I watched it because I wanted to understand the story, but I also wanted to be able to see the story so that way I can understand, okay, this stuff really happens. So now that I know this is something that happens that I didn't even think would happen in the world, now I know this is something new I got to prepare my kids for. I have to make sure that they know that this kind of stuff can happen. And I don't want you to fall victim to it. And if you fall into the trap of being in a situation like that, I want you to feel like it's okay to call me. It's okay to get in touch with me. It's okay to let me know what's up. And I'll help you figure out how we can get you out of there safely.